Today I'm going to talk about my full productivity system. This system is 100% free. You don't have to spend a single dime on subscriptions. And this system literally changed my life. I used to be scrambling last minute trying to meet deadlines, but now I'm able to do even tasks like 3 months in advance or even 6 months in advance, which is insane to me. I never imagined I would be able to do that. I don't know if all of you guys know, but I'm a busy neurology resident. I'm trying to make these videos. I really enjoy doing them, but without having a system, I was lost. But now I'm able to manage my time. I feel less stressed and I'm able to meet the deadlines and the things I have to do. The system I'm going to talk about, you can use it if you have an iPhone, if you have Android, if you use Windows laptop, if you use Mac, all of these devices, like it's compatible with all of them. So the three apps I use for my to-do list app, I use Todoist app, and for my calendar, I use Google Calendar, and I also connected with Notion Calendar. And the third app I use is an app called Spark Mail app. And I'm gonna talk about all these apps in details in this video. The most important thing about this video is that I'm gonna talk at the end about how to connect all these apps together. The first app I'm gonna talk about the Todoist app. Todoist app is mostly free and most of the features you really need is free, but there is a premium subscription for a few extra feature like fun features you can use, but it is free for the most part. Me personally, I just use like the free version app, and it is like worked for me well, and I love it. I have tried other to-do list app like Tick, which is also rich with good features, but the one that I feel like worked best for me is Todoist app. The way I like to use Todoist is thinking about it as bullet points. So for example, I think about it as today I'm gonna do laundry, today I'm gonna go grocery shopping, and today I'm gonna reply to emails. And the time, obviously, I use the time just to kind of indicate around what time I'm gonna do this. For example, I wanna do the laundry in the evening, so I say like, oh, let's say 5 p.m. after I come from work. And if I didn't do it by 6 p.m., it turns red and like, please do the laundry, so I do it. Or if I'm like, yeah, I don't have to do it today, I can do it tomorrow, so I just postpone it for tomorrow. So I kind of use it in a general term rather than I have to do everything like this time. The feature I like the most about Todoist is the widget. I really like the widget, and without the widget, I likely will not use like a to-do list app, because the way I do it is that I keep the big widget on my second home screen. So kind of every time I open my phone, if there is something I didn't do, it kind of goes into red, and that push me as like, oh, I should clear this. Like it makes me like kind of like an OCD, like I have to click the box and make sure I did the thing, and I will not feel relaxed until I do it. It's kind of like toxic, but in a way it helped push me to do the things I have to do. And I think if it is not for the widget, I would probably not use this app at all. So the widget, it's really the features I use the most. And with the new iOS update this year, you are able to interact with the widget. So you are able to check boxes, you are able to click and add a new task easily, which makes it like interactive and fun to use. And speaking of adding tasks, Todoist offer using natural language. So you can basically write down, do this task on Tuesday at 9 a.m. and it immediately able to recognize that and add it as a due date and time, which is very helpful instead of clicking boxes and trying to specify the date and time. The other thing is that you can repeat tasks. Let's say you wanna do the laundry every Wednesday, you can do that. You can type down every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and Todoist will repeat the task over and over every Wednesday. I personally have reminders for doing the laundry. I have reminders for getting groceries. The reason I do that because I tend to do this task on the weekends, on my off days, and really that is not the best way to use the weekend. You want to use the weekend to relax, to do whatever, to meet friends, to watch, I don't know, YouTube, and do the things that you enjoy doing. But I try to push myself, like after coming from work at like 7 p.m., I try to push myself to make sure that today I will do the laundry, tomorrow I'll get groceries. So I don't do all my home chores during the weekend. I try to do it during the weekday after work. So during the weekends, I try to relax, just recharge for the starting of the next week. One of the tasks I also like is the priority. I use the priority in a weird way. How it is meant to be used is that I think red is for high priority, yellow is medium priority, and blue is low priority. But the way I use it is different. I use the red color for things related to YouTube, like shooting this video or editing a YouTube video or anything actually creative in general. I use the yellow color for anything related to work because I'm a neurology resident. Anything related to neurology, I use yellow because yellow is nerves kind of. So I use anything related to work as yellow, and I use blue for anything related to my personal life. There is actually a fourth priority which is like unlabeled, which doesn't have any color, but I don't usually use it. All of these colors show up on the widget, so it kind of make it more fun to use the app. The other features like adding comments, like adding description for the task. If I have a meeting, for example, I can use the description to add like who I'm meeting with or any important details about the task, but I usually don't use that feature. And also there's comments. Sometimes if I can add a file, I can add something, I can add a picture. Also, what makes this app more fun to use is that there's ability to add emojis. So you can add emojis in the task name, and just it makes it more fun to use the app. For example, if I have a meeting, I use a phone emoji to indicate that it's just a phone call. And if it is like a Zoom meeting, I use another emoji to indicate that it's a Zoom meeting. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna talk about how to connect Todoist with Google Calendar and how to connect all of them with your email. Moving on to the next app I use, which is Calendar app. And as I mentioned, I use Google Calendar and I connected with Notion calendar. So let me explain this. So I used to actually have a physical calendar, which I got from Amazon for like $15 or something. I used it for a couple of months, and in the end, I just got tired from like updating it every month. At some point, I was thinking about buying another one so I can have 2-month calendar on my fridge. But in the end, I decided to switch into Google Calendar. I mainly use Google Calendar to add my work schedule, which is very busy as you guessed, and it gets released as a spreadsheet for all the residents in our program. So I have to add my schedule manually in my Google Calendar because our schedule get released every month, sometimes every 2-3 months. And the funny thing, I have a monthly reminder of my Todoist to update my Google Calendar. So mostly every month I have to add my schedule manually to Google Calendar. So I add which hospital I'm working at, which service I rotate in general neurology, stroke service, other services I work at, and I also add which attending I'm working with, and also I add obviously the hours, how long is the shift, and all of these things. So if I want to know where I'm working next week, who I'm working with, I can easily just open my Google Calendar and see where I'm working. And even better, I use the widget. But I don't like the Google Calendar widget. I mainly use the Notion calendar widget. And that's the only reason actually I connected my Google Calendar with Notion calendar, because the Notion calendar widget just looks better. It's like just better design, and I'm able to see almost like the whole week. I use the Google Calendar widget, the small one, just to see which lecture we have today. So I have a full page on my home screen. At the top, I have the Notion calendar widget, which have like where I'm working at, if I have any meetings, and the bottom one, if we have a lecture that day. So it makes it very easy. So I can glance at that page and see where I'm working this day and even the week. and also if we have a lecture that specific day. Very simple, straightforward, amazing. So I also use emojis in my calendar. So for any shift that I have to go physically to the hospital, I put a hospital emoji. And for any shift that I don't have to go to the hospital, I put a couch emoji, meaning that I'm working from home, which is makes it easier for me to see which shift I have to go to the hospital and which shift I can stay at home and work from home and be on call. And also if I have a meeting, that also show up in my calendar. And the way I do it is actually kind of weird. The way I do it, I add the meeting in my Todoist and it gets synced automatically to my calendar. So the meeting is actually duplicate. I see it both on my Todoist and also I see it on my calendar. The reason I did that because I feel like I don't look at my calendar every day, but for the most part, almost daily, I use Todoist. So I wanted my meeting to be on the Todoist, but then it's also weird that not to have it on the calendar. So now important meetings, I have them both on the Todoist app and also on the calendar. So that makes it easier for me not to forget the important meetings. And once I'm done with the meeting, I just check the box on Todoist and it disappears from my calendar. It just makes it easier for me to kind of keep track of all the meetings I have to do. The third app I have in my productivity system is the mail app. For my personal email, I use Gmail, but I don't only use the Gmail app. I use an email app called Spark Mail. And the reason I started using that app in the beginning because I wanted to separate my personal email from my work email. But as I used it, I actually found that it has many cool features. It is also free for the most part. There is a premium subscription, but you don't have to use it. And that system really served me well because when I get a notification from Gmail, I know it's my personal email. If I saw a notification from Spark Mail, I know it is coming from the other mail I use for work. So it kind of helped me, like I can glance at the notification without even opening my phone and I can know which email this notification is coming from. And the other thing, I have separate notification sound for the Gmail and I have a separate notification sound for the Spark Mail app. So now is the time for the fun part. Now is the time to know how to connect Todoist with the calendar app and with the email app. So first of all, I'm going to explain how to link Todoist and Google Calendar. And it's actually straightforward and I'm going to show you how. The problem you're going to encounter when you're trying to connect Todoist with the Google Calendar is that if you connect all your projects in Google Calendar, it's going to get messy. Your calendar literally going to get messy. Like there is no point for you to have the laundry reminders on Google Calendar. I don't want to sync those small tasks into my Google Calendar because I have them on my Todoist. The way I do it, I use the project feature in Todoist. Basically, any meeting, I add to a project called Sync. And I only link this project to my calendar. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. So the way you add a project is you go to on the side here, there's a plus sign here next to my project, and you can add a project. Add a project. And then you can name it. You can name it Sync, for example, or anything. You can give it a color. I usually go with red because I put all the important meeting in this project. And you can add it to your favorite if you'd like to. And then when you add a task, let's say I have a meeting with John. Let's say on Tuesday at 5 a.m. And then I have to add it to a specific project. So I click this sign and then add it to sync here. And then I'm gonna say add task. So it now added to this specific project. So this specific project, I'm going to connect to Google Calendar. And in the end, we will be able to see this task, meeting with John, sync to Google Calendar. You cannot do it in your phone. You have to do it on your laptop. Go to Todoist.com. In this case, I'm using a demo account because I don't want to mess up my main account. And then once you are logged in, click on the left side here. Click on your name. Go to settings. Go to integration. Click connect calendar. Then choose your Google account that has the calendar you would like to connect. Click continue and then click agree. Then this window gonna open for you. First option, you're gonna leave it as it is. The second option, you have to specify a specific project. Otherwise, it's gonna sync everything together. So you wanna really choose a specific project, and my project, I called it sync. So that's what I'm gonna choose. And I'm gonna just leave this alone, and then I'm gonna change the time for the duration of the events. I usually go with 30 minutes, which most of the meetings I do is 30 minutes. That's why I use 30 minutes. You can choose whatever you want. Here they ask you if you want to sync project that do not have a specific time. So I choose sync usually. And here they ask you if completed task, if you want them to be removed from Google Calendar or not. And I usually want them to be removed. So that is the setup I am using. You can tweak things around if you would like to and see what works best for you, and then you can click connect. If you remember the task I added earlier, which was a meeting with John, you can also see it on Google Calendar. So it makes it very easy to remember important meetings. This is the trick I use. So now every time you want to add a task to show up on Google Calendar, you just add it to the project sync in Todoist, and it will automatically show up on your Google Calendar. The other thing I want to talk about is linking the Todoist with my email. This one is actually, I think, less important, but it's also good to have. The way to connect Gmail with Todoist is very simple. Just type in Google Todoist for Gmail, click on the first option, the first search results, and you're gonna see this page. There is a Gmail add-on and there is a Gmail extension. So the Gmail add-on is for the phone. You use it for your phone. And the Gmail extension is for when you're using Gmail on your laptop. So you can install both of them. Just click on install and then add them as an extension. After doing that, you will be able to use Todoist from your Gmail. You can add tasks, and you can also use it on your phone. Every time you scroll through an email, at the end you're gonna find the small options to add as a task. And the good thing about this is that it gives you a hyperlink, so you are able to reference an email quickly from Todoist, which makes just your life easier. Instead of like before the meeting you're trying to find something, you're trying to find the email they send you about the meeting, and you're searching and you couldn't even remember which of your 10 emails they send it to. So it just makes it easy and convenient to different things. That is why I like to connect them together. The same feature you can use it with the Spark Mail app, but unfortunately it is a paid premium feature and you have to pay to use this feature. So I usually just add my task manually. So that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!